Welcome back. So, last time we found out that the final days had reached Garlemald. So we went to see what was going on there and got to play as Alphinaud and Alizé a little bit in some fights, and then we showed up and there's a big reunion on the battlefield, and then Urianger showed up with the Loporrits, and Alphinaud said he would talk to the forum about letting us in on the details of the plan, and now we are just waiting to hear back. And we're going to do that waiting here in the main hall. I want that rug. Not that I'm complaining, Urianger, but I wasn't expecting to see you quite so soon. Nor I thee. In extolling the virtues of Aetheris, I did inadvertently awaken in the Loporrits a desire to avert our beloved star's demise. Kryl tells us you have obtained new knowledge that may aid us in our ongoing efforts. I've news to share regarding our study of the ethereal sea. Your findings are certain to be of greater interest, and so I would rather hear them first. To what revelations did Hydaelyn's Elpis flower lead? Alright, this is gonna be a long story, y'all. Then this dynamis is what drives the final days. If it and Akasha are one and the same, this all but proves Nidana's theory. We're an entity through sheer force of emotion. To channel this vast dormant reservoir into a raging river, its power might surpass even that of ether. But if our star is so replete with ether, said entity would need to be outside its influence to effectively manipulate the dynamis of the great expanse. Meteion. Or rather, the sorrow and suffering of fallen civilizations that she's been hoarding for millennia. Untold anguish and fear and hatred, drawn from every corner of the universe, all for a single purpose, the destruction of Aetheris. Then our foe is no longer some unknowable calamity. We have but one aim, to defeat Meteion. You make it sound so simple, but you're not wrong. Vanquish Meteion and we deliver the world from the final days. To even attempt it, there are two conditions. First, we must determine her location. Before Meteion escaped, an enchantment was placed upon her by Venar, the woman who would become Hydaelyn. The implications of temporal magics are not entirely understood, so we cannot assume that our Hydaelyn and the Venar you met in Elpis are one and the same. Nevertheless, due to her intrinsic qualities as an all-powerful being, I'd wager that Hydaelyn possesses the knowledge we seek. Whether she would share that knowledge with us, however, remains to be seen. After all, she intends for us to flee Aetheris, not to stay. Do you suppose she has abandoned her pursuit of Meteion? The Venar I know would never give up. That's my impression too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have used me as a conduit for her will, or provided clues such as the Elpis flower. I believe she has been waiting for mankind's answer to Hermes' question. So, what's the second condition? We must find a means to reach Meteion. Naturally, our chosen method will depend entirely upon wheresoever she has made her nest. Then communing with Heidelin must by necessity come first. Did you and Master Matoya have any luck with your investigation into the Ethereal Sea? Sadly not. Though we enlisted the help of Arenvold and other Echo-blessed allies, we couldn't detect so much as a whisper from Heidelin, even from within the Anti-Tower. Master Matoya is of the opinion that in the years since abandoning it, the Forum has found some other method of receiving instructions from Heidelin. If so, it would most likely be some form of apparatus for observing the Ethereal Sea, built closer to home. Knock knock. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from the Forum. Your presence is required in the Rostra, where they intend to discuss the Great Exodus. Really? Then Father was able to persuade them. They're finally taking us seriously. Let's hear what they have to say. Alright, let's go to the Rostra. And talk to the Rostra Steward. The Forum is in session, and as such the Rostra is closed to visitors. We've been summoned. A scion of the Seventh Dawn. Very well, you may wait in the corridor. Of course, entry will only be permitted on the condition you leave your armaments at the door. Lest you forget, this sacred institution holds rational discourse in the highest. The implements of war are expressly forbidden. Okay. We're just gonna cross through it to get to the spot where we're supposed to wait. Because it's faster than walking the big long circular hallway.
There is a matter I wish to raise with you before we enter. We are here to listen and to learn. But if the Forum's plans are more or less what I expect, then I should like to make a proposal that will serve our ends. By your leave, of course.
I don't see why not. Your words and wits have gotten us this far.
Agreed. I will present our queries so that you may consider the most advantageous way to advance your proposal without distraction.
Thank you, everyone.
If I may have your attention, the ad hoc session will now commence. The purpose of today's assembly is to brief the Scions of the Seventh Dawn at their request on the Great Exodus. You may enter. On behalf of the Forum, I commend your heroic actions on the Magna Glacies. We shall not soon forget your service to us and the people of Radzat-Han. The Satrap, whom we have informed of the refugees' new arrangements, sings your praises as well. As an expression of our gratitude, we will endeavor to answer your questions as fully and openly as we are able.
Okay.
Then let us begin. First, it is the Forum's objective to ferry the life and knowledge of this star to the moon. Am I correct?
You are. It is for this purpose that Sharlayan has labored these many long years. We have collected biological samples and scientific records from across the star. When the time comes, they will be moved from their places in Labyrinthos and Numenon and conveyed to safety. Once that critical task has been accomplished, we will begin transporting the Sharlayan citizenry, which has been categorized into groups. The earliest arrivals are to ensure hospitable environs for those who come after. Following our people, we will send those of other nations in turn, beginning with our allies. Radzat Han was foremost among these, but since the final days have already come to Thavnair, we saw fit to include the refugees with earlier groupings.
An ambitious plan. You have accounted for the safety of all nations and tribes, then?
As many as we can.
And how, pray tell, do you decide who to leave behind?
To journey beyond the sky is an unprecedented and immeasurably difficult endeavor. Introducing sources of inevitable conflict would condemn all to certain death.
Questions as to the validity of that approach aside, are your plans proceeding apace? We're under the impression that your primary means of celestial transportation is incomplete.
If only in that it does not meet our optimal parameters, that is correct. This arc, as some have taken to calling it, is fully operational and could be launched even today. However, the final days have progressed more quickly than we anticipated. At present, the ship is incapable of attaining speeds sufficient to meet our evacuation targets. Should we put the vessel into service, as it is now, we will be unable to travel to the moon and back quickly enough to complete the necessary number of trips. Precious lives and knowledge will be lost.
Seven hells. Is there anything to be done?
The ether burner, the primary means of propulsion once the craft is in the space between stars, is undergoing testing to determine whether it can be made more efficient. Though cargo is being loaded for the initial phase of the Exodus, we are prepared to continue our experimentation up to the day before launch, should it prove necessary.
What if the Scions were to solve your problem? We shall help devise a means to improve the ether burner's efficiency, on two conditions. If we succeed, you must allow us to meet with Hydaelyn.
'Twas simple enough to deduce. You have a Concord, and so you would never have abandoned the anti-tower had you no other means of communication. One far more convenient, I suspect.
The second condition, also to be met upon our success, is that we be permitted to propose another use for your Ark.
We would be at liberty to refuse this proposal.
Of course. If we cannot prove its merit to the 99 here, who are we to stake on it the lives of all peoples of this star?
Delightful as always, Master Alphinaud. Oh, we couldn't have asked for a finer plan. Allow us to solve this complex engineering problem of which we were entirely unaware until moments ago. What could possibly go wrong? The satire writes itself. Yet, what field has not benefited from a change in perspective? When we are at wit's end, what we need is not the same dry theories recited ad nauseam, but fresh inspiration. I, for one, have faith in my erstwhile students to provide it, and I find their terms to be perfectly acceptable.
Order! Order! We have no time to waste on debate. I call a vote. All in favor of agreeing to the Scion's terms? "71 in favor, 28 against. The ayes have it. Alphinaud, as the architect of this project, you are the best candidate to show them its current state. And bear in mind that regardless of your personal misgivings, this is the will of the Forum.
Very well.
Could you not have faith in
Call
Alphinaud
the session to a
just
close.
once?
Return to your tasks with urgency. The final days wait for none.
Alphinaud. Sorry about not letting the rest of you in on my plan. I was, admittedly, thinking on my feet for the most part. But since we require both a means of communing with Heidelin and reaching Meteon, in the spur of the moment I saw involving ourselves with the completion of the Ark as a way to work towards both objectives simultaneously. However, we must first keep our end of the bargain by solving the problem of the ether burner. I'd like to think it is not a challenge beyond our combined expertise, or at least the expertise of our extended circle of associates. It might behoove us to learn how an ether burner actually works before we attempt to improve it, though. It might. Of course, you know, going underground. As instructed, I shall take you to see the ether burner. Meet me outside the Archaeon. I trust you can make your own way there. So, the Ark is being built in Labyrinthos. Hardly surprising. Where else would they conceal such a massive undertaking? There's no way I can do Alphinaud's gravelly voice. I'm just not base enough. Our destination lies in the lower levels. The Forum, in its wisdom, has granted you access to the Archaeon's lift. Step inside and have Opheline take you to the medial circuit. Okay. Let's go find Opheline. Hello, Opheline. Yep. Bloop. I have sent your associates ahead to the Logisticon Alpha on the other side of Mariel Agronomics, sorry. Actually, there's something I've been meaning to... No, never mind. It can wait. Let us attend to the matter at hand. I don't want to be in a fate.
Endless garden
We have to wait here while our father arranges for us to use the next lift. Here being Logisticon Alpha, where the atmospheric conditions of Labyrinthos are regulated. Water is drawn from underground and dispersed as vapor, stimulating the formation of artificial clouds and rain. By manipulating the temperature and air circulation, they are able to create the ideal environment for the growth and preservation of the biological samples kept here. Hold on, how do you know so much about it? Why, father brought me here as a child. What? And left me behind? Actually, you're the one who left me behind when you went off somewhere with grandfather. The night before, I'd been asking father how clouds are made, so he decided to show me. It was fascinating. I peppered him with questions the entire time. 'Tis all too easy to take for granted the many interweaving aspects of the natural world, to grow inured to the wondrous. But having gained an understanding of the complex mechanisms employed by the Loporrits in recreating a similar environment, I have come to view such processes in a new light. The subterranean gardens of Labyrinthos, the lunar prison forged to contain the ancient Zodiac, the habitations built for all mankind beneath the moon's surface, each unique yet undeniably similar. 'Tis no mere coincidence. Let's try it again. Ever since Heidelin unfolded to us the grim fate that awaits Aetheris, every essential resource we could spare has been delivered to Labyrinthos in preparation for the Great Exodus. But that is not all. It is also a testing ground for the technologies that will allow us to settle on distant stars. Though the Loporrits have endeavored to make the moon inhabitable, that is not our final destination. Mankind must learn to propagate life where there is none, to thrive where all is barren. Alas, time is not on our side. I have arranged for you all to enter the central circuit. It is there that most of our preparations for the Great Exodus are carried out, the construction of the Ark among them. Though our plans have been made public, access remains highly restricted. You, however, will not be subject to said restrictions and will have free rein to come and go as you please. Such was the will of the Forum, after all. We will prove ourselves worthy of their trust. Your trust. Then let us proceed. By decree of the Forum, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn are permitted to enter the central circuit. Thanks. The ether burner is being constructed not far from here. Overseeing the work is Kokol Dankol, after whom the forge is named. Once the necessary introductions have been made, I shall leave you with him to discuss the particulars. This way.
could swap them out. No, been there, done that. Damn near lost me eyebrows. Think, Coco, think! We'd be well on our way to paradise. Visionaries patting themselves on the backs for their grand accomplishments if you'd only think!
Yes, that does sound rather lovely.
Yeah! I mean, masterful, you know, what a pleasant surprise. We're not blasting off already, are we?
The schedule remains unchanged, for better or worse. Which is why the Forum has elected to accept assistance in resolving the ether burner conundrum.
Not seen you lot down here before.
There are Archons among their number, but engineering is not their expertise. Nevertheless, the Forum concedes the slim possibility that they may have insights to offer. If not, you are at liberty to return them to the surface, by whatever means you see fit.
I assure you that won't be necessary. Now, about your troubles with the ether burner.
Aye, aye, I'll walk you through it. Suppose I could do with a change of pace. As the name ought to tell you, the ether burner burns ether, ambient or otherwise, and transforms it into motive force. Think of it like a giant bomb that never stops exploding.
It's a rocket.
Even out in that black void where the ether's right sparse, it's strong enough to move our arc. And it probably won't kill you like an actual bomb. But it ain't perfect. According to my calculations, to travel to the moon and back fast enough for the Forum's liking, the conversion rate needs to be 6% more efficient. A measly 6%, you say? But if I could have squeezed even another 0.6 out of it, don't you think I'd have built it that way in the first place?
Hast thou consulted with the Loperites?
Yes, they too are conducting their own research, for lack of a ready answer. The moon's propulsion systems are considerable, naturally, yet they are commensurately massive. It is no easy feat to convert their technology into an efficient means of propulsion for a teeny tiny toy boat, as they say, and as I most certainly do not.
Yes, exactly! Damn it all, I asked for refined adamantite and they send me uppity rabbits with inscrutable, ancient, incompatible technology! You're trying to drive me mad!
Do you speak of Allegan refined adamantite, perchance?
You know of it?
Only in the most general terms, I'm afraid. 'Twas an alloy of Allegan make, but the secrets of its production were closely guarded. As I recall, the record stated it was vital to Dalamud's construction and launch.
Aye, that's the stuff. No material more conductive far as I know. Slotting some in's like blowing up a dam and watching the river of ether come rushing through. Ain't a living soul that knows how to make it, though. We were fortunate enough to salvage some for the ether burner, just a wee bit, mind, from a chunk of Dalamud that came hurtling into the Northern Empty during the calamity. With more, well, that extra 6% efficiency would be child's play. It's a crying shame that we've no other sources.
Surely the many shards of Dalamud scattered throughout Eorzea would suffice. Why not get the refined adamantite from them?
Oh, we tried, believe you me. But only a few specialised pieces would have had any in them to begin with. Drive calls from Ragnarok-class internment hulks. Those are the prize bits we really need. According to the Gleaners, getting to them means delving deep into the shards. And the defences are still very operational and very eager to blow them up. It's rough going in there, even for the cream. Not sure they'd make it out alive.
Weren't we near that part of the Ragnarok when we went to destroy Bahamut?
Mm-hmm. You want me to go and fetch the what's-its?
That may be for the best, though you doubtless find the task too dull for your liking.
There are multiple internment hulks in Eorzea alone, so handling this ourselves may not be the most efficient option. Rather, if we could salvage adamantite from the shards simultaneously... Thancred, is the link shell we established before you went to Garlemald still active?
Of course. The floor is yours.
What's all this?
Gathering firewood, so to speak. We alone can accomplish little, but joined by others, we may yet build a bonfire to carry us heavensward. This is Alphinaud. The Scions have need of you.
Understood. I will contact the Lord Commander and dispatch our finest at once.
My sisters are somewhat preoccupied with the final days, so I will lead the 12-Sword expedition myself.
Are you aware of any other sources of refined adamantite?
Logically, such an invaluable alloy would have been utilized solely where absolutely necessary, in components intended to conduct or collect surpassing amounts of ether. Any extant instrumentation or devices would have likely found their way into the hands of etherologists or enthusiasts.
Magical artifacts of Allagan design? The Eastern Alliance will send word to one and all. Are there other ways we may offer aid? No shards of the Lesser Moon scar our soil, but our stake in this cause is no less for it.
Is there anything in Othard that might be of use to you?
What did you say? Oh, you got friends in far places, lad. Any road, if you're offering, I wouldn't say no to one of those Far Eastern sacred relics. Some of them can hold enough ether to summon a whole damn primal. Combine a source like that with the ether burner, and 3, 2, 1, kaboom!
I gather you heard his explosive enthusiasm. Might you secure us a suitable relic?
It shall be done. I know little of machines, but I promise we will do our utmost to gather the materials you need to finish your starship.
I don't think Alphinaud was expecting this.
I am glad for the work, in truth. Better to busy oneself than wait and fret over disasters foretold.
Then why are we all still standing about yapping? There's plunder for the taking. And I'm a born plunderer. I'll be an old Charlian before you know it. Start mixing the grog.
I'm certain that can be arranged. Thank you all, and do be careful.
Just like that.
Aye, just like that. Our refined adamantite is on its way. Now let us consider our next steps, shall we? There's yet much to be done.
Alphinaud didn't even notice Alphinaud leave. Because he's becoming his own person. It's times like these we're reminded of how famous or infamous Alphinaud has become. Who would have thought he could achieve so much with a single link pearl conversation? As we're expecting rather a lot of visitors in the near future, I'd best return to the surface and inform the relevant parties. I also have a contact of my own that might be worth a try. Oh, and who might that be? That's for me to know and you to find out. And on that note, I leave matters here in your capable hands. Best of luck. trial. Teasing Alphinaud still. Meanwhile, in Ul'dah.
Our course of action is clear. We must harvest refined adamantite from the shards of Dalamud and procure arcane relics of Allagan make. Summon the best and brightest of our immortal flames and form an expeditionary party at once. Call upon the Sultan Sworn and Brass Blades for support as you must. Papashan, send word to the guilds. We will require the expertise of master artisans if we are to have any hope of identifying and recovering these elusive materials. Thiergeist, we have need of your stone torches. They are to assist the immortal flames in scouring the ruins and to help secure the surrounding areas. I trust I can count on your support.
As commander of the Stone Torches, my son Zimberk will personally see it done.
Pippin, I would have you lead the raiding party. Assemble your finest, and with Tizona's blade, clear the way. Lord Lolorito, I pray you take charge of the search for Allagan relics. Surely you know of some being traded on open or clandestine markets, or sleeping in collectors' vaults. Of course, I ask not that you do this out of the kindness of your heart. By all means, profit on the transactions. I wish you the joy of it. The final days descend upon our world. If circumstances are truly as dire as they say, Ul'dah's best efforts may be for naught. And yet, when we Eorzeans rose from the ashes to rebuild our broken realm, did we not learn one simple truth? That which seems all but impossible to overcome alone may yet be possible if we stand together. It was the Scions who united us then, and it is the Scions who call upon us now. Ul'dah will answer that call. We will summon our courage and join the fight for our world's future. You know your duties. I, Nanamo Ul'Namo, 17th in the line of Ul, bid you good luck and Godspeed.
Yay! Meanwhile, in the Black Shroud. The blonde one on the left is Lucienne, the leader of the Archers Guild. And now she's on the right.
We fielded a goodly number, but our ranks are heavy with healers, and an abundance of restorative magics will be of little help in destroying Dalamud's defenses. Still, it has ever been thus with Gridania. We must steel ourselves for a protracted engagement.
In that case, might I suggest taking us along?
Lys. She brought
Commander
Monago.
Hext, what are you doing here?
None of the shards in Girabania are big enough to hold an internment hulk. So we said to ourselves, why not lend our neighbors a hand? We thought you might be short on people with a talent for breaking things.
While it pains me to admit it, you are right. Are our deficiencies so plain to see?
You're some of the best healers in Eorzea, though.
It might have been a lifetime ago, but I was once one of the Scions assigned to the Shroud. I know this forest well. I know your people. And I know we will be stronger if we fight this fight together.
Then I will impose upon you with a clear conscience. Come, let us speak of how to integrate our forces.
I won't let it all be for nothing. I promise you, Papalimo.
Meanwhile, in Kurthus. Hey, that's a mana lane.
There you are! We've no time to waste, brother. Everyone has already... That was a roar! A dragon's roar!
What are the dragons up to? Meanwhile, in the Ruby Sea. Even Hancock's involved.
And so, in summation, the Eastern Alliance, as well as the Honourable Lord Lolorito himself, reached out to me for assistance in procuring these treasures of the divine, and I, in turn, do beseech the Confederacy for aid. Is that...
Hancock? What a surprise this is. And a fortuitous one at that. I have a favor to ask, you see.
That's Seiryu, one of the 4 lords of the Ruby Sea. They're part of a side quest. Specifically, they're where you get 3 of the dogs. This is the one you get from Seiryu. Alphinaud. No job too small. Though our friends are searching for refined adamantite and sacred relics, we will only know if they meet your requirements once they have arrived. In the meantime, is there aught else we might do to be of service? Ha! You've already done more than enough. If I had to say, though, I could use someone who knows a thing or two about Allegan technology. You there, the lad with the red eyes and matching hair. You seem to know more than the average scholar. Ha! If only Master Coco knew how right he was. While he and Graha establish a rapport, why don't we help with preparations for the Great Exodus? Indeed, this would mean going above and beyond the terms of our arrangement, but I propose this not to curry favor. As confident as I am that we will succeed, we must be ready for every eventuality. This would also be an opportunity to familiarize ourselves with the logistics of traversing the Great Expanse. And if nothing else, it beats twiddling our thumbs while we wait for the adamantite. Agreed. Well, ain't you a bunch of helpful buggers? If you've a mind to lend a hand, I know where you ought to go. Charlie and Hamlet is lousy with researchers, and scholarly types busying themselves preparing for the Exodus. Ha! That lot need all the help they can get. Well, off we go then. Dun -dun. To the Charlie and Hamlet. This is the dog you get for getting all 7 other dogs. Outside or inside? There you are. From what I can tell, a lot of the people actually live down here. I don't know how much help we can offer, but I dare say they'll benefit from some of that fresh inspiration Scarlet Montechain mentioned. Let's start by asking around, ideally without getting in anyone's way. Let's meet by the Aetherite once our work is done. Okay. I want to float over the hedgerows. You there, Silken Grin. Hello. Are you one of the new helpers? Yeah? Working on the ether burner? Oh dear. I hear things have come to a standstill on that front. Even so, I'd choose that over my current duties. Checking and loading samples day in, day out. It's tiring, thankless work. Still, no one will be cross if I misplace a few lagoons or what have you. The Forum's got enough on their plate as it is, what with deciding who gets to board the Ark and when. A lot of powerful people have opinions about that. My heart goes out to Master Fortunato and the others. Hardly get a moment's rest, I expect. Do they even have time to sleep? We're floating so that we don't have to run around things. Steady current. Helping with the Ark. Even with all the power Master Coco's managed to squeeze out of the ether burner, it's still not enough apparently. Now I hear the final days of a ride. Horrible creatures running rampant all over. Only we begun the Exodus sooner. People are dying and there'll be no end to it if we don't fulfill our duties. But we will. We spent years preparing for this moment, believing in the plan, and all will be well. Paltisan. Offering to help. That's very kind, but I should be able to organize the rest of the documents by myself. It's mostly lists of the things we'll need once we arrive on the moon, and then whichever star we choose as our new home. My duties largely concern the maintenance of living conditions, so I'll be a lot busier after we depart. I hear that our lunar collaborators have come down to assist in our efforts. I'm looking forward to finally meeting them in person, after having communicated with them in such limited capacity thus far. To be perfectly honest, I've not even the slightest idea what they look like. I do hope they're not enormous looming giants. Why, I'd much prefer if they were small, something small and fluffy, like that behatted rabbit that ran by. I thought I saw something go off in the background. Hello, rabbits.
Fancy meeting you here, Asuka. Our friends in the forum brought us to see their teeny tiny toy boat, which was quite impressive considering they didn't use any creation magics. What we're really interested in is the Theorist itself, though we now find ourselves in a sort of funny underground miniaturized version of it. We were hoping the forum would give us a guided tour, but it appears they're rather preoccupied. Honestly, all that time to prepare and they're still not ready.
I suppose we'll just have to show ourselves around, or at least that's what we were planning to do until we chanced upon Urianger and your good self. Since we're both dawdling about, engaging in idle chit-chat, perhaps you could show us a few points of interest. Won't that be fun? Wise guides. A tour of Labyrinthos. An unexpected yet prudent suggestion, given the similarities betwixt this artificial environment and Bestway's Foro. It would be in our best interest, to have the operates acquaint themselves with those conditions deemed optimal by their Charlian collaborators. I fear, however, that continued reliance upon my limited knowledge would risk narrowing rather than broadening their perspectives. Mayhap thou art better suited to lead this venture.
What a marvelous idea! Might we begin with that great big what's-it over yonder?
Ah yes, the what's-it. I shall leave its explanation to Asuka. Thanks. This is the dog from Lakshmi.
Goodness me, to build something so large without creation magics is positively stupendous. Perhaps you could direct our attention to its most important features.
I suppose. I don't know anything about it. Let's look at the tanks.
It's a little hard to see from here, but is that a golden pipe connected to the top of those tanks? And I can see through that window another pipe at the bottom. Ah, this must be for purifying water drawn up from below.
Okay, I can't go that high consistently. What? How did you get here, adventurous Ambistoma? The mushroom-like thing.
That looks like the trees in Greatest Endsvale. Hold on. That's bits of a strange shape. It's thin at the bottom, but big and round at the top. Quite tall for something so unbalanced, too. Now it makes sense. That's where they store the water.
And the metallic tube.
Is that water I hear from inside that great big tube? It must be because those cogs in that gigantic wheel at the top. Oh, I see. That's how they draw up the water. There's probably some sort of spiral-shaped mechanism inside, too.
I guess. I don't know how pumps work.
Well, if we're to hazard a guess, water drawn from underground, presumably with some other mechanism, is purified here and stored in that tower, before being distributed elsewhere. I'm right, aren't I? I knew it. A design brilliant in its simplicity. I dare say it would take only a moment to install in even the harshest of environments. For us operates, that is. Indeed, securing a reliable source of water is of the utmost importance for any fledgling settlement. We have read, however, that peoples of Etheirys sometimes make their homes in arid deserts and such. How are they able to survive?
Areas near waterfalls are common sites for villages in Girabania. Many settlements in Thanalan are built near an oasis.
So, wherever you choose to live, you're never far from water. Oh dear, I worry we won't be able to procure the necessary amount. We can provide enough water to keep them from drying out completely, but it would appear they rely on it far more than we'd anticipated. A few adjustments may be in order, once we've calculated the average rate of consumption per individual.
It may also be worth learning more about how exactly they obtain their water in the first place. Master Alphinaud spoke of the machinery responsible for that feat during our journey through Logisticon Alpha, did he not? Mayhap the Loporits will share his appreciation for the engineering marvel. Oh yes, that sounds absolutely splendid. We must journey beyond the sanctuary of the Charlian Hamlet. I shall lead the way. You mean we'll have to brave the untamed wilderness? A valid concern indeed. We could not help but notice the many dangerous-looking creatures with big, nasty teeth lurking beyond the safe confines of this settlement. Were we not escorted here by burly custodians, I dread to think what would have become of us. Regrettably, too many a hungry predator with the aforementioned big, nasty teeth. Loporits may appear to be a potential and rather appetizing source of sustenance. Might I impose upon thee to assist in securing safe passage to Logisticon Alpha? For my part, I shall act as an escort to Living Way and Cooking Way. I entrust Singing Way and Growing Way to thy care. Okay. A more valiant protector they could not wish for. Godspeed. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not be eaten by some horrid beastie. Come along, Growing Way, to the water extraction, what's it? Off to a destination. To defeat beasties. Come here, vile beastie. Thank you so much. I really hope this water extraction is worth the harrowing experiences. All part of the fun, some might say, but I'd rather not be burnt to a crisp if it's all the same to you. I would also rather you not be burnt to a crisp. My friends, I bid you welcome to Logisticon Alpha. Our destination doth lie at the lift's top. Pray follow me. We don't have to take the lift. We can fly. We can fly. We can fly. Now we just have to find the door. Marvelous! Simply marvelous! So this is where the magic, or science rather, takes place. The perfect environment to sustain life, artificially created. The knowledge we'll gain here will be essential when we start looking for new stars for your kind to inhabit. Apparently, most of them don't even have air for you to breathe. You're all very lucky that Aetheris just so happens to provide everything we need to thrive. Or did mankind turn out the way they are because of the available resources, I wonder? Either way, it's nothing short of miraculous, and I cannot wait to see more of it. And that's where we'll end for now. And when we come back, we'll continue on with the Loporits tour.